Have you ever wondered what happens to the brain during a knockout punch? It's a question that has puzzled scientists and sports enthusiasts alike for years. The human brain is a delicate and complex organ, and when subjected to the force of a knockout punch, it can experience a range of traumatic effects. In this video, we will explore the fascinating science behind the knockout punch and discover the intricate ways in which the brain responds to this sudden and powerful impact. So sit back and get ready to learn about one of the most intriguing mysteries of the human body. Introduction of the brain and related injuries. The human brain is one of the most remarkable and complex structures in the known universe. It controls every aspect of our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, and is responsible for everything we see, hear, touch, taste, and smell. However, despite its incredible abilities, the brain is also extremely vulnerable to injury, and even a minor injury can have serious consequences. Different types of brain injuries can affect the brain in various ways. For example, a concussion, which is a type of mild traumatic brain injury, can occur when the brain is shaken inside the skull, causing temporary changes in the brain function. Symptoms of a concussion can include headache, dizziness, confusion, and memory loss. Another type of brain injury is a traumatic brain injury, which occurs when an external force causes damage to the brain. TBIs can range in severity from mild to severe and can cause a wide range of symptoms including headache, nausea, seizures, and even coma. In addition to TBIs, other types of brain injuries can also have a significant impact on the brain. For example, a stroke occurs when blood flow to the brain is interrupted, depriving the brain of oxygen and nutrients. This can cause brain cells to die, leading to a range of physical and cognitive symptoms. Overall, the brain is a remarkable and fragile structure that can be affected by a wide range of injuries. Understanding how different types of injuries can impact the brain is crucial in developing the effective treatments and prevention of strategies for brain injury. MMA and most common injuries. Mixed martial arts is a full-contact combat sport that involves a combination of techniques from various disciplines such as boxing, wrestling, kickboxing, and jiu-jitsu. While the sport has become increasingly popular in recent years, it is not without the risks. Fighters are at risk of suffering a range of injuries, many of which can be serious and long-lasting. One of the most common types of injuries in MMA is to the hands and wrists. Fighters throw punches and perform grappling maneuvers that put a lot of stress on these areas, increasing the risk of sprains, strains, and fractures. In addition, fighters may also experience dislocations or ligament damage. Injuries to the feet and ankles are also common in MMA. Fighters use their feet to kick and pivot, which can put a lot of stress on these areas. Common injuries include sprains, fractures, and concussions. Fighters may also experience foot or ankle injuries due to the repetitive impact of training and fighting. In addition to these types of injuries, fighters may also experience injuries to the knees, elbows, and shoulders. Fighters throw a range of strikes and engage in grappling maneuvers that put a lot of stress on these joints, increasing the risk of injury. What happens to the brain after receiving KO punch? Now, what happens to the brain after receiving a KO punch? When a knockout punch lands on a fighter in a game, it can have a profound impact on the brain. The human brain is protected by the skull, but the force of a knockout punch can cause the brain to bounce around inside the skull, resulting in a range of traumatic effects. One of the most immediate effects of a knockout punch is a loss of consciousness. When the brain is subjected to a sudden and powerful impact, it can disrupt the normal functioning of the brain, causing the fighter to lose consciousness. The loss of consciousness is typically brief, lasting only a few seconds, but it can have serious consequences for the brain. After the loss of consciousness, the brain may experience a period of confusion and disorientation as it helps to attempt to recover from the impact. This can cause a range of cognitive symptoms such as memory loss, difficulty with speech and motor function, and problems with attention and concentration. In addition to cognitive symptoms, a knockout punch can also cause physical symptoms such as headache, dizziness, and nausea. These symptoms may be short-lived, but they can also persist for several hours or even days after the punch. One of the most concerning effects of a knockout punch is the risk of developing a traumatic brain injury. TBIs can occur when the brain is subjected to a sudden and forceful impact, causing damage to the brain tissue. Finally, the repeated exposure to knockout punches and other types of head trauma can also increase the risk of developing chronic traumatic encephalopathy, a degenerative brain disease that is associated with memory loss, depression, aggression, and other cognitive and behavioral symptoms. Overall, the impact of a knockout punch on the brain can be significant and long-lasting. It is crucial that fighters, coaches, and other professionals involved in combat sports take steps to minimize the risk of head trauma and ensure that fighters receive appropriate medical care in the event of a knockout punch or other head injury. Responding to brain injuries in MMA sports. When a fighter suffers a brain injury in the ring, it is essential that immediate action is taken to ensure the fighter's safety and well-being. The first step is to stop the fight and get the fighter out of the ring as quickly as possible. Depending on the severity of the injury, medical attention may be needed right now. Once the fighter has been removed from the ring, it is important to assess their condition and determine the best course of action. If the fighter is conscious and able to communicate, they should be evaluated by a medical professional who can determine the extent of their injuries and provide appropriate treatment. In some cases, the fighter may need to be transported to the hospital for further evaluation and treatment. This is particularly true in cases where the fighter has lost consciousness or in showing signs of severe injury. Even if the fighter appears to be relatively unharmed, it is important to monitor them closely for signs of delayed onset of symptoms. This can include symptoms such as headache, dizziness, confusion, and memory loss. If any of these symptoms develop, it is crucial that the fighter receives medical attention right away. In addition to providing medical care, it is important to ensure that the fighter has access to emotional support and counseling. Brain injuries can be traumatic and may have long-term effects on a fighter's mental health and well-being. By providing support and resources for coping with the emotional impact of a brain injury, fighters can begin the process of healing and recovery. Finally, it is important to take steps to prevent future brain injuries in combat sports. This can include implementing safety measures such as mandatory protective gear, regular medical evaluations, and rules that limit the frequency and severity of blows to the head. By prioritizing the safety of fighters, we can help to prevent brain injuries and ensure that combat sports remain a safe and enjoyable activity for all involved. Combat sports such as MMA can be incredibly thrilling to watch and participate in, but they're not without risks. While brain injuries may be the most well-known risk associated with MMA, it is crucial that fighters, coaches, and promoters take steps to prioritize safety and injury prevention in the sport. That can include proper training, techniques, and the use of protective gear and regular medical evaluations. In addition, fighters who do suffer injuries must receive appropriate medical care and support to ensure that they can recover fully and safely. By prioritizing safety and injury prevention, we can help to ensure that combat sports such as MMA remain a safe and enjoyable activity for all involved. With the right precautions and care, fighters can continue to pursue their passion for the sport without undue risk or harm. If you found this video informative and thought-provoking, please consider subscribing to our channel and clicking on the notification bell icon to stay up to date with our latest content.